A 5% retirement withdrawal rate? Easy as pie, my friends. Easy as pie. I'm telling you right now, in the higher interest rate environment, it just. Anyway, let's keep looking at this because I'm a big fan of this interest rate environment for sure. So we're gonna look at Diane Sample. All right, she's a single lady, Diane Sample. She's got $1,000,000. She has it all in that USA fixed annuity right here, paying 5.05%. Right, and right now the 10-year Treasury is paying about 4.5. 30-year Treasury is paying about 4.6, 4.7. So you might be saying, how is she getting 5.05% on this fixed annuity? Well, the simple facts are fixed annuities because of surrender charges, and the USA surrender charges 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. In this case, means most people lock up their money. And one of the benefits about 401ks, IRAs, annuities is the surrender charges. It keeps people invested. We don't want money coming back and forth. We want people to be stable in their investments. Ask any money manager. They don't like it back and forth. They don't want to have to adjust for inflows and outflows. They like it stable, if that makes sense, because that means they can buy stuff that they can hold on for the long term. Remember, it's time in the market that matters, all right? That's just fact. So the longer you're in the market, more likely you're going to be successful. And the longer, if you're a money manager, the longer you can tie up your clients' money, the more likely your clients will be successful because they're not bouncing back and forth at the drop of a hat. And so what's happening here is USA is saying we're going to buy, any insurance company, they're going to buy high quality corporate bonds and government bonds as well. And because this in case is a 10-year fixed annuity, they can go out in the yield curve and buy longer maturity bonds, which gives a higher yield. So you can see right here is a Vanguard ETFs. Right here, we got long-term corporate bonds paying 5.81 right now. Intermediate corporate bond, 5.37. So USA, because they know this money is tied up essentially because of significant surrender charge, they can go out in the yield curve and buy longer bonds that have a higher payout, which means they can give you that 5.05. That you really can't get on your own in one product. And you could buy, well, I don't know, you could buy a $100,000 bond. I don't know how to do that. But anyway, generally speaking, that's a nice thing about the annuities is that they're going out and doing that stuff for you. You can do the same thing in a corporate bond fund, but the corporate bond fund does have downside risk. That's called the standard deviation. Annuities have no downside risk. And so the corporate bond fund with a standard, I wonder if it even show you standard deviation. I don't think it does. I'm not going to look into it. But generally speaking, the bigger the standard deviation, the more risk you're in taking on. The thing with a fixed annuity is it's fixed. There is no standard deviation, right? In terms of the value of the portfolio. In terms of downside, it really is what matters. So we go to Right Capital. She has this fixed annuity paying 5.05. Can I guarantee it's going to pay that for 30 years? No. I think we're at an equilibrium with interest rates, though. This makes sense to me. 5.5% intermediate to long-term bonds, that seems to be a good price point. So in 10 years, will the annuity pay 2% as opposed to 5%? I don't know. This is a 10-year fixed annuity, and year 11, you can do whatever you want with it. You're at a surrender charge. Theoretically, it could go down as low as 2. I highly suspect that won't happen. Theoretically, it could go as high, whatever. We had 15 and a quarter in 1982 on 30-year bonds. So theoretically, it could go to 15 and a quarter. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're right smack dab where we need to be. Anyway, so let's keep going here. We're just going to assume that she's going to get 5% a year with a fixed annuity or fixed CD. I don't care. CDs don't really go out 10 years like annuities do. All right, so, and then we're going to say, okay, can she make this work? Let's go to retirement. And we're going to say, yeah, she's taking $55,000 a year out. You'll see right here, cash flows. So she's drawing $4,000 a month, so $48,000 a year, but she's got to pay tax on her withdrawals. So her total expenditures is 5.2%. All right, she's taking $48,000 to smoke dope with. She's got to pay tax on the distribution, so it's going to cost her another $4,000. So she's taking 5.2% from her portfolio. And you can see this lasts until, well, let's go down to accounts. This lasts until she is right there, 90 years old. She's 90 years old. She still has money left. All right. Now, does she last until she's 95 years old? Well, the answer is no. So it's a 25-year maturity before she dies. Can it go for 30 years? And the answer is, watch, it'll go down to 0, I think, in year 92. So basically, year 27 is when she runs out of money here. Check this out. Let's go to cash flows. We're going to go to summary. And we're going to go to accounts. So here, 90, right there, year 94, she basically runs out of money. So she's 29 years into retirement. Now, a lot of people say, yeah, but Josh, you got to run 30-year retirements. Well, let's take a look at this screen right here. How much longer do you have to live? So here she is, what do we say, 65. And the red is for the women, the blue is for the men. So she's 65. Her life expectancy is about 82 years old. All right. Well, that's for a man. For a woman, it's about I can't remember. It's about 82, I guess. Yeah, right. But for a man, maybe 83. For her life expectancy, average life expectancy for a 65-year-old lady is 83, 82, 83. That's not even 20 years. That's 18 years of retirement. So we're giving her 25 years, and she's not running out of money. If we give her 30 years, she ran out of money in year 94. That's 29 years. I mean, it's just here you are at age 60. Your life expectancy for a man is, right there, 20 years to your 80, and for a woman it's about 82. So the idea that we're all going to have these 30-year life expectancies just isn't there. There's no evidence to prove that. Now, could you be the exception to the rule? Absolutely. I talk to people all the time who are the exception to the rule. What I'm saying that in this case, though, you're sitting there thinking, how is your physical health? How is your lifestyle? How is your parents, your grandparents? Are you really going to be around for 30 years? If you're 65 years old and you're freaking, you're heavy, you're just stressed out, you got diabetes, you're just like, man, you don't know which way it's coming or going. You're sick of commuting down to Buckhead, never mind downtown Atlanta. You're like, it's because of risk there. Like, I don't know if I can do this, man. But you're like, oh, but my 30-year projection is I'm going to run out of money in year 94. And you're not going to run out of money because you still have Social Security, which you're not even including here. I'm just saying your portfolio. With a fixed annuity, you're guaranteed to get 5%. So here she's got to pay taxes on that. Let me show you how the taxes work here, because I think you'll find this interesting. All right, so on a fixed annuity, she has to pay tax on the amount on the interest she pulls out. So basically, what's happening here? We're going to go to accounts, and we're going to show you she is pulling withdrawal from accounts. She's pulling $52,000 out from her account. Why? Because she's got to cover her $48,000 a month day to day, $4,000 a month day to day living expenses plus the tax she has to pay. So if we go over here to tax, actually, I want to show you something before I do that. Let's go back to retirement. If we go to retirement, we're going to go to cash flows, and we're going to go to summary, invested assets. So what's happening is she's making $50,500 a year on that 5.05%, and she's pulling the entirety of that out of her portfolio, plus a little bit of principal too. All right. So you can see her ending balance is $998,000 at the end of the first year, $994 at the end of the second. At the end of 10, it's $894, something like that. So then we go to 1040. You can see right here, go to details. You can see it has a $50,500 that she made as interest on her annuity, but she has to take it out because the thing with annuities, any distribution is always LIFO. Your interest always comes out before your principal. All right. So her principal in this case, because it's a non-IRA account, is tax-free. So any interest she gets is taxable as ordinary income. So in this case, the first year she made $50,500. She pulled the whole thing out because she actually ended up pulling $52,500 basically. She has to pay tax on that $50,500. She gets $17,000 standard deduction because she's over the age of 65. So her taxable income is $33,500. So she is paying essentially 3,700 taxes, 3,782 divided by basically 52,500. Her effective tax rate is 7%, man. I'm sorry, that's just not, you can't shoot that. Don't look at that. There's her effective tax rate, 7.5%. I think I have her living in Colorado. I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, you can see down here her effective tax rate goes to 0.87. Why? Because she's going to be so old at that stage. And she's basically she's not making that much interest anymore. She's just living off the principal. So we go to cash flows, and we're going to live off the principal. You can see right here, her interest at 87 is now $7,000. That's her portfolio return, but she's pulling $91,000 from the portfolio. So basically, that's what she's getting that she's paid tax on, that she has to pay tax. So the rest is just return of principal. Now, I'm not here to tell you to do annuity. I'm just saying at the end of the day, this is easy to do. Now, let's say we have her living until 90. Go back to 90 again. So for a 25-year retirement, yeah, I don't know why I have her in Colorado. I don't know. But we're going to put her retirement account, not in an annuity, but in a 50-50 portfolio. So remember, we had a 100% probability of success before, and now we're just going to exclude this guy right here, and we're going to put her in a 50-50 portfolio, which I believe was this guy right here. Yeah. And we're going to include that. So let's just see the difference there. Can this last guaranteed because that was 100%. Can this last for 25 years? I actually don't think it can, but let's double check here. Let's take a look here. I think it's like 61% rate of probability of success. So a 5% rate of, and I'll show you what I'm giving her here. On the balanced portfolio, I'm giving her 5.2 with an 8.8 standard deviation. So even though she has a higher rate of return than that 5.05, because she has a standard deviation, it means she's less probable to succeed, if that makes sense. 61% chance. Now, if we make her live till 90, it's going to drop significantly. I don't know what it's going to drop to. Let's just boink, hit boink. The boinky boink, it'll drop to, 32, something like that? Yeah, 37%. All right, so again, the idea that, we actually know what we can do. We can also put her in a higher, more aggressive portfolio, which she makes more money. We'll put her in a growth portfolio. Has a higher return with higher standard deviations as well. I think it's going to be low, 42%, yeah. So not a huge issue, not a big change there, and 90. Right there at 90. I don't know what's going to be, 72, 60. So even that's 61%. So again, the idea that people in that growth portfolio had a 5.5% rate of return, I think I was giving her 5.5 on the growth. Let's see, 5.5 with 11.7% standard deviation. So the issue just is, like always, what is you're trying to accomplish? Are you trying to accomplish the idea that you can retire safely? All right, then the fixed annuity looks quite good to me. If the idea is you want to retire somewhat safe, but knowing there's volatility, then a portfolio with a growth opportunity looks good to me. There's nothing wrong that says you can't split the difference, do both though. This idea that 30 years in retirement, no one can make it. And dude, come on. I mean, I'm not even using the guardrails here, by the way. I'm just saying 48,000 a year adjusted for inflation. What I got it stopping at 75, it goes down by 10%. And at 85, it goes down by 10%. So it's 4,000 a month, 48,000 a year, adjusted for inflation each and every year until you're 75. Then it drops by 10%. Then again, another drop by 10% to 85, and you're fine with no guardrails or anything. It just depends on what you're trying to do in a retirement. Just don't let these naysayers scare you. Say, I can't retire. This is impossible. I'm going to live till I'm 120. Trump's going to do something to Obama. Just come on, man. Come on. We're getting good rates of return on fixed products, which means the risk is lessened for you as long as you take advantage of it. And again, that doesn't mean you have to be mutually exclusive. Just because you have an annuity doesn't mean you can't have this over here. It just means at the end of the day, they're a good product to look at, man. I don't have annuities. I don't get commissions. I don't know Stan the annuity guy, whatever his name is. I don't have anyone that I say you should buy annuity, go through that guy, because I get nothing like that, dude. I just want you to open your eyes and say there are other products out there that take risk off the table that don't jeopardize my ability to do what I want to retire. Now, you're not getting growth other than that 5%, because in this case, you're eating that 5%. But what's to say you're going to get growth in a portfolio of stocks and bonds? We don't know. That's the risk. We just don't know. I mean, probably you will, but I don't know. All right. Love your thoughts. Paw that like button. We'll see you. God bless.